Well, thank you for taking the time to sit down with me today. Now that you've had a bit of time to reflect on last season and all that the club achieved, how proud are you of what the club done over those 12 months?
Yeah, I think it's had a little bit of time to settle in, isn't it? And you realise how special a season it was and how special an achievement it was. You know, winning leagues does not come round often, and especially in such a competitive league. You know, we've got 22 teams, and it's so high, you know, to win promotion, you've got to be the winner to automatically win promotion, and it obviously doesn't happen very often. So immensely proud of the team, and the players were absolutely fantastic. You look back at some of the moments in a 32 game unbeaten run, and I think even now it won't quite settle in, but it'll be something to look back on, in the future and be really proud of it.
Yeah, it's definitely over the course of the season, the team showed that they deserved that top spot. It was competitive right the way throughout, I think, especially with AFC Tottenham sort of pushing out right away, sort of those last 2 or 3 games. It's been confirmed now that the club will be playing National League North next season, which was a surprise to some, but that is where you've been placed now for the upcoming season. How did you first feel when you heard that news?
I think it is what it is. Like, you want to progress up the pyramid. If you want to win a league, you want to get promoted, then you're ready for the challenges of whatever that brings. And you can't say I want to challenge myself at the highest level. As a player, you can't say I want to play at the highest level that I can, but I only want to play 2 minutes down the road. Well, that doesn't work if you want to play against these professional football teams, and there's a lot of them in this league. Some really big clubs to go to. We go into places that, I know some Cardiff City fans around my age and a little bit older and stuff, that we're going to places that they were going with Cardiff like many moons ago. So, it's a fantastic league to be in. I'm really excited, and I'm looking forward to going to all these new places, and to all the challenges that will present, and to all these teams coming here, and to looking forward to us doing battle out there on Pendarren Park.
Yeah, like you said, there's some really big clubs in the National League North. I worked out across the away days that you're going to do over the course of the season, it'll work out over 8,500 miles round trip. But there's some great trips here to be made for players, for fans. And it's a different kind of adventure to what the club has been used to over the last few seasons. There's been plenty of ups and downs. But this season you're really on that upward trajectory, on that roller coaster at the minute. So how exciting is that adventure going to be this season?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting. Like, lots been made of the travel and the time, the round trip time. I've seen that going around on social media quite a lot. But if you play this level of football, you're used to getting on a bus on a Saturday and going to a game. Boys who've come through academies are used to going to travelling to play against, their opposition. If last year we did a lot of travelling, we regularly did 2.5, 3 hours each way last season. It's the 4 games, and when you talked about that mileage, I think there's only something like 500 miles difference between the north and the south. So although a lot's been made of it, the reality is it's not that different. Chelmsford would have been extremely difficult to get to around the M25, and Dover, and there's lots of long trips in the south as well. The issue is the 4 games that are a little bit too far, really. There's 4 games that are too far, and that's obviously Spennymoor, South Shields, Darlington, and Scarborough. So, those are going to be an issue. They're going to present their own challenges. They'll be overnight as if they're on a Saturday. If they're on a Tuesday, who knows? But the rest of it is, to be honest, is pretty standard travel, and we'll be doing it the way we've done it. By the time we pick all the boys up on the way and have a stop, it won't feel like we've been on the road for ages, and then we're back in each other's company, hopefully celebrating, picking up some points, and we enjoy that part of it as well. That camaraderie, that traveling together, that time spent together is partly why we're in it. If you didn't enjoy that, then you wouldn't do it. And yeah, like you say, there's huge games to be had. We're really looking forward to obviously going to Hereford, Kidderminster, Macclesfield. These are obviously huge teams, and a real big challenge. And I can't wait to see our boys go out and play against them.
Yeah, and I think you might not look at that as much and how much of an impact it could have. Like you said, the sort of togetherness of that squad last season, you could see it throughout the season, and I felt like it built from start to finish as well. The challenge of having to go to some of these big clubs, like you said, and travelling, go into these places is going to build that, not just between the players but the fans as well. So an opportunity really for the club to continue to grow as they have been doing in the last few seasons.
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, we're going to be playing in front of bigger crowds, in bigger grounds. I think the clubs that are going to be coming here, even though it's going to be a distance, I think are probably going to bring bigger followings with them down here. And you're right, the togetherness of the group was a huge thing last season. You know, that 32 game unbeaten run. I mean, we lost more games in April in the end than we did in the whole rest of the season, which was strange and was a little wobble. And we completely fell off in the last game. The intensity just, you know, we'd done it all year and we'd done it, and it was, you know, there was such a drop off in intensity in the last game. That was natural because of how much the boys had put into that entire season, that fantastic season. And you're right, I think there's that togetherness of the group, and all the learning that we've had and all the time we've already spent together is going to hold us in good stead moving forward. We already know, you know, we're not going to be changing the way that we're playing, and the boys already know we're going to make tweaks, we're going to make improvements now over the rest of the summer and throughout pre-season. But, you know, the boys know what we're going to be doing, how we're going to be playing, and hopefully that time spent together in this team building over the last 3 years will help us when we go in against these teams who are training every day and preparing games 4 days, 5 days a week, you know.
And looking ahead to next season and the squad that you have available, firstly looking at some of the people unfortunately that won't be joining us for the next part of this journey. Kane Simpson, who's moved on, had a massive impact last season with his goals, and in the short time that he spent there really helped the club. Just some words on his impact and how much he will be missed this season.
Yeah, Kane came in and you know, he did brilliantly. He really fitted the team dynamic. He got on with the boys straight away. His work ethic was a big part of the team and something that he really added from what we'd had the season before. That made a huge difference, and he got goals and assists. And I, you know, thank Kane for his time at the club. As with if any other players end up moving on, you know, that's football. We appreciate their efforts while they wore, you know, a Merthyr Town jersey. I genuinely wish all the boys that move on, and including Kane down at Taunton this season, I wish him absolutely all the best next season. You know, I hope to see him enjoying his football, scoring goals and doing well down there. There's absolutely no ill feeling. Boys have got to consider a lot. I mean, every single player, including Kane, these boys were champions, whether they played every minute or didn't. Everybody was offered the opportunity to come back. Everybody was offered improved terms. So people have got to do what's right for them. Obviously, Kane living a little bit more in the South Channel, down in Bristol. You know, if we'd gone south, maybe that would have changed things. And people have got to make their own decisions based on what's right for them. And we totally respect that. And like I said, I wish Kane all the best. He was fantastic for us. But it gives us an opportunity now to fill the role in a different with somebody different who might bring, you know, different traits and different assets to the team.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the people on the field, it was people off the field as well. I just want to mention Nathan, who obviously played a big role as head analyst last season. He's obviously moved on now to work with the national body. Just a mention to him as well, and for his hard work over the last few years.
Yeah, Nathan's a brilliant kid. He's worked so hard. I mean, he came to us after he'd done his GCSEs. He was, you know, just going into sixth form and came and learnt the ropes with Marcus, and then it gave him a massive head start when he did go to university. And that's allowed him to then, you know, apply the things that he's been doing here to his course and to help him progress really quickly and do really well on the course that he's doing down there. And it's allowed him then to open up other opportunities. So I'm really proud actually of the role that we've played in his development and he's played a significant part in our development as a team over the last few years. And for all the hours that he spent behind the laptop, big thank you. And he's still helping at the moment. He's going to be around for pre-season and help us with a bit of a transition to whoever comes in. That's something that we're looking at sorting over the next 2 weeks now. We've had lots of interest, and I think that's partly down to people seeing how well Nathan's done and the doors that it's opened up there. So we wish Nathan all the best, and thanked him for his efforts throughout the last few years. And he's still going to be about initially just to help us with that transition period and making sure we're still doing the same things next season, and maybe somebody could bring more new ideas to help us move on off the pitch as well. So we're looking forward to fulfilling that role over the next couple of weeks. And big thank you to Nathan, and we wish him all the best, and we hope to see him around plenty, as I know he's a big supporter of the club anyway.
And just showing their preparations already underway for next season in terms of the squad. You've already managed to get some players re-signed over the line. You happy that you've got a good core of that squad from last season staying here and looking to build now from there?
Yeah, really happy, really happy. There's a fantastic group of players there. If you look at particularly what we've announced so far, if you look at the defensive unit and the midfield unit, it's really, really strong. I'm absolutely delighted with the players that we've retained, and that's the first and foremost thing. There's a couple of other people who are still in negotiations with, and we're working through that, and we hope to add to the players that we've already announced. But yeah, I'm really excited to see those boys back out there representing us again. And I think that's a big thing, like for them to say so early, we're here, we're in. I think that's a big testament to each of those players' loyalty and commitment to the club, and I'm really excited to watch them, grow and watch them go next season. I can't wait to see it, and we're putting plans in place to try and make us better next season. We know it's a big challenge. There's a few things I'm really excited to implement already in pre-season, and I can't wait to try and help those players who've committed to us into a massive challenge that we're really, really looking forward to.
Yeah, like you said, it's a big challenge, and making that jump up, do you think it's important to, I think you see sometimes with teams who maybe get promoted and they go and switch out a lot of players and have a big sort of turnover from the players who have brought their initial success and have helped get the club there. So do you think it's important to have that core of players that know what it's like to play here, know what it's like to play for the club, and understand what is expected from what you want on a Saturday?
Absolutely, yeah, that helps. Like if teams have got 4 days to prepare a game in training, to prepare a game against us, that's going to give them an advantage. However, we've got a group here that's been together a significant period of time, and therefore have already learned what we do in certain situations, how we're going to approach against different systems, against a wide free kick in a certain area. The boys know exactly what we're doing, and therefore that prior learning and that keeping the group together is almost our way of negating that lack of training time that we're going to have compared to some of the teams that we're going to go up against. And it's a fantastic challenge, and I think these boys are I'm confident. I'm really confident. I think you've also seen, you talked about teams who've changed players. I think you've also seen teams that have kept groups together, and actually at all levels of football we've seen teams continue to progress when they've just adapted, evolved slightly, but kept the core together and kept the same kind of values and drive forward. So I'm really excited, and I think that keeping this group together was the first thing, and now we'll look to add a little bit to it, and I'm really excited. I think we can continue to progress, I really do.
And speaking about adding to the team, you've already made your first new signing of the summer, Morgan Lewis, who's joined from Weston-super-Mare. Just speak to me about why you decided to make that deal and what you think he offers to this squad of players.
Yeah, look, we're always tracking all the kind of Welsh, South Wales-based boys that are out and about across the border or wherever they are playing their trade in professional football. The boys that are in obviously the professional clubs, we always have to try and keep tabs on how everybody's doing, and Morgan's one who we've watched for the last couple of years, and he's had a little bit of a taste at Western of this step, and then a couple of loans, and we just feel bringing him back, it gives him an opportunity to come into an environment where we think the style of play will really suit him, and where he'll really fit in well, and to really play lots of games at this level where he maybe would have felt frustrated last season. I think he'll add to us in terms of that delivery that he's got, particularly, and I'm looking forward to integrating him with the boys and seeing how he goes.
And looking towards pre-season, you've already got a number of pre-season fixtures booked in. You talked about having to adapt to different challenges next season. Do you think the run of games that you have for pre-season will help that? And what are you expecting to get out of this pre-season?
Yeah, I think there's one yet to be announced. Just waiting on the other club to allow that to go out publicly. But yeah, I'm really pleased with pre-season. I think it's going to give us a real good challenge. Plenty of games, plenty of minutes to see where we're at. We'll finish with a double game against Chesham, where basically the whole squad will be able to play 90 minutes. They'll do the same, I think. So it means that going in the week after, whoever we go with at that point will hopefully be fully fit and match sharp and ready to go. So we've got a double header against Chesham. They're obviously a team on our level who finished mid-table last season. So that'll give us a good guide as to where we're at. And it'll give, like I said, all players, provided they're injury-free, the opportunity to play 90 minutes, which I think in pre-season sometimes a player you can get frustrated with, come off after an hour or come off after 45, So that's the reason for the double header on the last pre-season date. We've got some good games lined up against professional under-21 teams, which I think will be a really good challenge for the teams who are going to move the ball, that we're going to play against in the league. And then we've got some Cymru Premier teams who are going to really test us in terms of intensity. And there's always that little bit of, it's only a friendly, but there's that little bit of which level's better and all that, which means there's sometimes a little bit more edge to the game, which is a good thing for a friendly, really. Penybont will be well into their preparations. That's a really good one for us to start with. We'll have only been in a week. We come back, the players come back, I think it's the 22nd of June, Tuesday, gives us 6 weeks before the start of the season. Boys are doing their off-season programs now, having had a little period of celebration and recovery. And that one, therefore, that'll be a really good first test for us, because they'll be right at it, ready for their European adventure, which we wish them all the best in. And we'll have just come in, so it'll be a really good test, in terms of intensity right from the off. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to pre-season. I think it's set up to see us into the season well.
And the early bird season tickets are now on sale for supporters. I'm sure they're very excited to get going again and looking forward to some of the adventures and new grounds that they're going to visit this season. They were brilliant last season, but how much of an importance and impact are they going to have over the course of this new campaign?
Yeah, they're going to be absolutely huge for us. You look at it. We had the one game at home last season where we were defeated. It would have been amazing to go a home season undefeated at home for those supporters. That's what we do it for. They're the reason that we go out there on a Saturday and play, and they give us such good support home and away, and they're going to be absolutely huge. We're going to need this to be a difficult place to come. We're going to need people. Obviously, we talk about the travelling we're going to do well. Those teams are all going to travel to us, and on those days when they've travelled to us, we need to make sure that the crowd are in and right behind us, and we play at a real intensity that makes it very difficult for those teams that have stepped off the bus and travelled all this way. So they're going to be a huge part. I'm sure they're looking forward to some of the away trips at the old reacquaintances and that we're going to be doing battle with, some of the games and some of the grounds that they're going to go to. I know they'll lend us their support as they did last season. I mean, some of the atmospheres last season away from home were absolutely fantastic. You look at Totton, you look at Sholing, and it was these are great times, and when somebody scores in front of those away supporters, it's brilliant, and we can't wait to have more of those moments next season. I think I'm quite conscious to say to the supporters today, really, that although there's not been too much announced at the moment in terms of new players coming in, we're not going to rush that this season. So we're really pleased with the core of players that we've already got. There's a couple of players who won't be announced that we've got agreements with that probably won't be announced until really close to the season. So just to say to the supporters, look, just trust us a little bit this summer. And you can see the boys that have been retained, and we're working hard behind the scenes to try and finalise those last other couple that haven't been announced yet. And then, we are in a position now at this level of football where things will change over pre-season. Players who are in professional teams who might then not be playing, whether that be in the National League or the Football League, people who are not going to be involved in squads, there becomes a big opportunity then for people to come to our level at that time. So we're not going to rush to sign the wrong player, or we're going to make sure that we've got the resources available to move, when the right players become available throughout the summer. And like I said, we have got a couple of agreements which we can't really announce. So just to say to the supporters, look, get behind us. You can see the core of the team that's been retained, those boys who've committed to you as supporters. Get behind them, and if you can buy a season ticket, if you're in a financial position to do so, do it, because it helps the club massively. And let's go on this adventure together, this season.
That's great. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us today, and we're very much looking forward to this upcoming season.
Cheers, Ben. Thanks for your time, bud.